What'd you say you're gonna do this one in two?
We got a 2 here.
Let's find out.
Twofer.
Well, you got your work cut out for you, twofer.
Two, baby. You like that? That's pool playing right there.
Get off my hand!
Tomatoes. Wolf Tick Nation, thank you guys for tuning into once again another Wolf Tick Videos episode. We are glad you guys are here. As you can see, I've got a jersey on because we are fixing to do a little real-time review on the all-new Mongoose Salvo 2. Alright, this bike is $18.99. Is it worth it? We've talked about who this bike is for, positives and negatives. We've done the initial impressions, and I cannot wait to get on this thing, and it's about time we ride it.
We did most initial impressions. We'll do another episode with some of the extra details.
Yeah, we'll do some detail-oriented stuff. Alright, we're going to keep it very scientific, just like this channel. Today we are in beautiful Woolly Hollow State Park, right outside of Greenbrier, Arkansas, and we're going to be riding the Trails of Woolly Hollow State Park. Alright, they've got 2 different trails here. If you ride them both together, it's called Ender's Fault. It's a 9.5 mile trail. Today we're going to be doing, me and Wolfman are going to be riding the North Loop, which is a distance of 4.4 miles, and the level is intermediate. We were thinking that's probably the better one to ride because I think it's a little bit more flat and there's some pretty neat looking landscape areas. Wolfman will be getting those shots for you guys. Alright, so we're going to be talking about this bike. How does it shift with the Advent X? We're going to be looking at the fork, the shock, the feel of it, the dropper post, the tires. This thing comes stacked, and for $1,899 it should. Alright, so if you guys are interested in checking out this bike, check out the film links in the description below. If not, just keep on following along. Alright, and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's go ride the Salvo 2. I've been waiting to say that all day. Let's go do this. About to ride. Alright guys, here we go with the Mongoose Salvo 2. Such a good looking bike, size small. Wolfman over there getting his dropper post situated. And the cool thing, check this out, we have got a dropper post, man. 125 millimeters of drop. That's awesome. I was gonna wait to say this until we got in the trails. But something I've been wanting to say is, ever since we did initial impressions on this bike and really getting to check it out and just see that it's very tastefully done, right? There's no massive change-ups, just everything is, you know, we got 32 millimeter stanchions, we got the radon shock in the rear, an Advent X, which is pretty awesome for the group set. Aluminum pedals, like just some basic stuff on this, right, to make it like a really good, hopefully a rider's bike. But it's something like we would have actually done, like a build that we would have done. Wolfman's got to go back and get his gloves. We're going to go over here. This is where the Ender's Fault bike trail is, and where the mountain bike trailhead. You guys can see that sign right there. But man, if you guys ever come out here and camp, it's a massive loop. You have a lake over there that doesn't have any fish in it. I fished earlier. Then there's our spot right there. How awesome is that? So it is like within walking distance. They got tons of walking trails and all the way throughout this park. So we've got the North Loop over here, and we've got the South Loop. We're going to ride the North Loop. All right, let's go to this trailhead over here. Let's see what we've got. We'll take a look at the map. And buddy, let me tell you, yesterday I rode this bike. The day we did the initial impressions, I rode this bike to and from the restrooms and kind of just a little bit around to see if I could get everything situated as far as the bars and all that and the brake levers, make it to where it's kind of comfortable for me. And got these brakes bedded in, the Tektro M275 levers with the M285 calipers on there, and everything is situated pretty good. The bike is very comfortable, but we're gonna see. We've got some miles to go. So we are right here right now, if you guys can see that. We're fixing to go up this little trailhead on the other side of this parking lot, and we're gonna start riding. I think the idea here is to stay to the left. 4.7 miles, let's do this. Group set, shifting great. I can't believe that the Advent X, right now, it does have a clutch, but we don't have it on right now. That thing shifted so good out of the box. It was amazing. See this little hit right here we're gonna get. All right, so you guys know we've got the fork is set at 77, 78, 77, and the rear shock is set at 100 right now. Tires are at 32 PSI. And as far as full suspension goes, holy crap, this thing's it's just butter. Like, you know, it's crazy. We always talk about hardtails being a real rider's bike. And this thing right here just absolutely floats over everything. Very comfortable. We'll see if we can get some more hits where that front really starts soaking some stuff up too, because right now the rear is doing most of the work. But size small, you can get this thing in a small, medium, large, extra large. And I don't know, you guys tell me your opinion on it. You can go with any of those sizes, right, that Mongoose offers, but you get a 29 across the board. Honestly, I think I would have liked a 27.5 for the small, but that's just me. I think 27.5's got a lot more torquiness to it. It is harder to keep the wheel speed up once you get rolling, unlike a 29er, but we're just so used to 27.5 stuff. But I mean, you only can get it in a 29er, so you guys let me know what you think. But yeah, man, the bike feels great. I had to do a little bit of adjustments with the bars and the levers and things like that, but the lock-on grips feel really good. I just love that this thing out of the box has a dropper. I mean, you know, some people might think that it doesn't have enough drop at only 125 millimeters, but I mean, how much more drop do you need? This thing gets plenty out of the way, and hopefully we'll find a couple little features or something to hit, or maybe a couple of downhill areas where I can actually get it out of the way and show you guys that the bike is still super maneuverable. And that group set is just tearing it up right now. So happy that we've got a good group set on this bike. And again, that's like something that this is a build that we would have done for sure. Kind of similar to some of the setups that we've had on our Ledge X1. Now, if you guys are interested in any of the specs on this bike, make sure you guys go back and check out the initial impressions episode. That's you know, where we size everything out. We'll be talking about some of the specifications out here, kind of like this wheel set. This is the 29 by 2.4 WTB Trail Boss up front. We got a 29 by 2.25 in the rear WTB Trail Boss as well. A little skinny in the back, I guess, for better speed. When we were doing the initial impressions on here, I mentioned that they had a few spacers up on the front, underneath the stem, and I might want to move a spacer or two on top of the stem and then put the stem cap on top of that, because it almost seems like the bar and the stem area are hiding the tire, or like you're a really good ways away from it. That's not the case when you're riding it. This guy, maybe it's because I'm getting off that gravel bike, I don't know. This right here is super comfortable with that 760 millimeter bar. Shoulder position's great. These grips are a little thin, which I'm a thin grip man, but that might be an upgrade right around the corner that somebody might want to do if they were going to get this bike, is the grips, because I can see that probably being a pain in the butt. But I like a thin grip. They're comfortable to me. We'll turn here, let's try these tires out. All right, tires are good. God, it's just crazy how much the rear triangle of this bike soaks stuff up. Hardly a little bit of rattle in there right now with some of this chunky rock action, but that's impressive, man. What I was saying about these brakes is the levers, actually, these ones seem a little gawky. I don't know if they changed the design or what, but they're a little big. Maybe because we didn't adjust the throw. There is a throw adjustment. So we will probably have to do that so we can bring them in a little bit, because they kind of seem like they're hanging out there. And the brakes are doing a good job, though. We did have I'm going to say I kind of had a fit trying to bed these things in. It was multiple laps going downhill on the asphalt just to get these brakes to really start grabbing on these rotors. And a lot of people probably recommend that you clean those with alcohol or whatever first, which we didn't, but they finally burn off whatever it was. But I actually took a few laps around the parking lot there to get these guys bedded in fully. But it looks like we've got this part of the trail here. We'll see if Wolfman gets some different shots, and let's continue. But so far, so good. Everything's holding up. A little bit of chain slappiness back there in that rough stuff. I don't want to turn the clutch on just yet. I kind of want to put it through the test and see if it makes a lot of noises, and then we'll probably put it on. Maybe if we get like a little downhill section or something like that. You know, a lot of times with these 29ers, they feel really long in the wheelbase department. And I think because this one's a sized out frame, it doesn't. It's super responsive. And it just tracks really well with that 2.4 inch tire up front. And you know, honestly, I don't know if that front Suntour, the fork up there, if it's doing a lot of work at the moment, because again, I've got this rear shock set at 100 and it seems like it's absorbing everything. So the front's kind of just sitting back and waiting for big hits or something. Right there, decent. You know, so talking about the fork and the shock, there is a downside in my opinion with this with the shock and the fork. The shock is going to be, it doesn't have a lockout, and for a full suspension bike, especially somebody like me that's not used to riding one, it zaps your energy, you know. And if you can't lock out that rear, you can lock out the front, that's not the negative with the front, but you can't lock out that rear, so it's going to be taking a lot of that pump, you know what I'm saying. Luckily we have a massive range cassette back there with 11 to 48 tooth. That's great with the 1x. And it's super solid, but it's gonna be difficult, you know, climbing all day with this thing. Like at Northwoods, that'd be a pain in the butt. And the shock, or the fork, the downside with that, doesn't have a compression ring, you know. We usually go by 77, and it's a really good gauge, especially out here live doing it, because we don't have a lot of time to hit something, go back to the drawing board, look at it, set the pressure, hit something, go back, because it's a real-time review. So what's nice most of the time is we can just go by that compression ring. Hey, you know, we do the Triple C trail, it looks like it's okay, let's lessen the air, let's add more to it. But right now you don't have a gauge, and there's no diagram on there showing, or air chart I guess, showing what you should have or shouldn't have. So that's kind of a downside. Not a huge deal, but I would like for it to have a compression ring and the lockout in the rear. Okay, I think we have some downhill here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop this dropper, because it comes with a dropper. We're gonna come back here with the Advent X, and we're gonna click it into the on position, so the clutch is on now. That's a good looking group set. And I love this derailleur hanger, how it sits way back in there really close to the cassette. So if you do happen to hit something, hopefully it doesn't break off. All right, let's get this little downhill portion started, and let's see what we can do. All right, guys, Wolfman's down there on this downhill. We just turned the clutch on, but something I want to point out before is there's a lot of little subtle details that are kind of hidden with this bike. Do you guys see the chainstay? Look at the angle of the chainstay, okay? It sits right below the crank. Now, look up here, right below the bottom bracket, right at the end of it. That chainstay on that side sits above it. Isn't that cool how it twists down? And it gives you a whole bunch of clearance right here, so you're not getting a massive amount of chain slap. That is really cool. We noticed that earlier this morning, or I did, and I pointed out to him. But do you guys see that? That is neat, isn't it? Got a little pivot point action on the rear, right close to the dropouts. But, all right. Seat post is dropped. We got some downhill. Wolfman's down there with the camera. Standing room only. Let's get it open on both the front and the rear. Rebound on the front is like right at 50. See how these tires do? All right, good little spot there. And everything's getting nice and soaked up. A little chattery in the rear end, but got some good speed throughout. Not a crazy downhill. I haven't ridden this trail in like 4 years. I thought it was gonna be a massive downhill, but I'm sure with a hardtail it probably been a little bit more sketchy because the rear end bouncing around and fishtailing like. But this one here, it's just so planted in the rear. That's such a good word. Gotta work on my vocabulary. It's planted, baby. The whole bike feels super stable. And that's what's really cool about the full suspension, you know. I don't ride a lot of full suspension, but you can see here we've probably gotten really close to the bottoming out, but not quite there. And we've got a bunch of different oil marks on that radon. And then on the fork up front, I mean, we've hardly used anything on this one. Well, we've used a little bit more than I thought. We've actually come up here on this dust. You can see the little dust line up there. So we've gotten up pretty high on that. Not quite the 120 millimeters of travel, but everything so far, we've got the radon right at 50% on the rebound, because that's the only adjustment on there. Well, that and the air pressure. And then we've got this one here right in the middle of the rebound as well. But they're both acting really good together. All right, guys, we've got one more little downhill section before we do the conclusion. I'm going to slow this rebound down a little bit more. Wolfman saying whenever I'm ready. We're going to slow this rebound a little bit more, and that's what I don't like about this fork, because it's just the rebound knob is just way up in there. It's hard to get to, especially with gloves on, and it's just, there's like maybe 8 turns of nothing. Then whenever you get to the resistance on it, then it starts to act up. So it's a little weird. We're going to turn this up a little bit, or slow it down, I mean. Let's speeden it up. That's slowed down. Fork's very slowed down. We'll let Wolfman get the shot. Seat post is dropped. Oh yeah, a lot less responsive, I guess you could say, with the bike now. Kind of drags a little bit more. Nice. Wow. I soaked that stuff up beautifully. Let's see how much we used on this fork right now. All right, so we used a little bit more on the fork. We got you Wolfman shot, but this is the little after effect. Not even 120 millimeters yet. Like, we haven't bombed this thing out. And on the rear shock, yeah, it's right about the same area as well. I don't know, man. This bike is, bike's impressive. I'm digging it. Well, well, well. We are back at camp. Wolfman is sweaty.
I'm sweaty.
Probably about to hit that water here in a second. Just got off of the Salvo 2. There's really nothing bad I can say about it. I mean, honestly, guys, of course, I think one of the big things, and it's not really a complaint after riding it, is having a lockout on the shock. I think that would be nice, you know, but you do have to remember, you do have to reach down and hit that before you go. Sometimes you forget about it. But when I locked out the front fork, because it's got two apparently, when I locked out the
Everyone
fork...
says front fork anyway.
When I locked out the fork, the rear did good. You know, it wasn't like taking and zapping away my energy like I thought it was going to. It's just a super good bike. Like, I enjoyed that a lot, you know?
Having the 100 PSI in the shock, did that help a little bit? Because I don't know
so.
where you normally would have ran it.
No, I don't know what I normally would have ran it at. I want to say we used to run them like somewhere around 80 or 90 maybe?
Or something.
I don't know, but honestly, I think with the 77, 78 in the front, that right there probably made a big difference with being able to lock that out.
Was the front good pressure?
Yeah, I think the front was good.
I think that's where you normally
honestly,
like
I probably could afford to go a little bit more with it. Look where that dust line is. It's quite a ways.
Yeah, we really didn't mess with sag too much.
No, we didn't. That's what I was trying to tell
them. It was kind of eyeball it, but that's what we normally do. We eyeball and we go like 10, 15%. We don't do 30% because for the way you ride, you don't like 30%.
Yeah. On a trail like that, though, man, that was awesome. That bike is a complete rider's bike.
You can probably get away 30% on that trail.
Yeah, it's super solid bike, very good performer. Again, there was some corners out there a little washed out where the harder you kind of ride this bike, the more it performs. I like that kind of bike. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I can't wait to take that thing down to Black Diamond or Northwoods.
Anyway, no, the experience you experienced today, that is something that I think this is the problem I think a lot of people have, and they don't realize it, and I think it caused more problems than it solves, and that is you were overbiked today. You were overbiked. And I think that, so I think a lot of people go out and buy the best bike they can afford, and they go out and they ride trails like we just rode, and then they kind of get bored of it. And I think a lesser bike would have been funner on the trails. Yeah,
I think a hardtail would have been more challenging because this thing here just soaked everything up, man.
This was actually too much bike for today.
Yeah. I think what's really cool is we have some tires that Big Brother Kevin H got us.
We're going to do more specking, and we're going to challenge this bike more by you going down Hayes Creek. We'll make that a whole episode on its own.
I don't know what that is,
I don't know.
One thing I do want to do is, since these wheels are tubeless compatible...
I don't know if that's a child or child being made. I'm not sure what that is.
I think we've got everything to make this thing tubeless, including tires. So it'd be pretty neat to do that, and maybe just, you know, change out the headset, do some tasteful upgrades, maybe stuff that people at home would want to do, because we always talk about, you know, some of the biggest spenders are going to be your fork and your shock. And this right here has got a pretty good setup already, so it's just going to be really interesting where we go. I think some full lock-on grip, something maybe a little bit more comfortable would help, and then some better pedals. The pedals aren't bad whatsoever, but I would like some more cleats that dig into the bottoms of these soles a little bit better. But really, I'm wearing pad shorts, and the seat, like, I think that full suspension, like I said, overbiked, it was just comfortable. Like, not one part of my body right now is going, oh, like I can feel it. This bike is super comfortable, size small. I'm 5'5". It fits me great, and I can't wait to get back on this thing and ride it, man. Guys, if you're interested in checking out this bike, right, or like we've been talking about a little bit, like on the initial impressions, the Salvo 1, make sure you guys go down to the links in the description below, or you can also check out the description below the
That's got me wondering how much different the Salvo 1 would be.
Yeah.
You know?
You guys can check out the Mongoose Ledge X1 too. It's still available. $500. The Salvo 1 is $14.
Now the X1, this would probably be a good trail for it.
Yeah.
Because it's just not this bike.
I think
out the gates.
before we go, my main conclusion is the thing I'm most impressed with this bike is just how tight it is. Mongoose did a great job of giving a really good bike that complements the rider, and you can feel everything on this bike. It's just a good, solid platform.
Yeah.
You know, and for $18.99 it should be. It feels excellent, man. Just such a good
We
bike.
need to, when we do the rest of the specs, to make that a full episode, I think we should, maybe if we have time between now and then, we'll look into some of its competitors in this price range and just kind of give an idea and see what there's out
like
there.
that Costco
And
bike.
I wonder what this, well, that's not really, I don't think,
I don't think on purpose.
I think so. I don't think that Costco bike is in that price range normally. I think that was to get that floor model sold, because that was really cheap for that bike apparently. But anyway, yeah, I'd like to see what other bikes are in the price range just to kind of get an idea.
Don't have kids for a reason.
That was a little bit much.
All right, guys. Hey, that was another Wolf Tick Videos episode. Appreciate you guys watching. Again, check out the affiliate links for this bike. And turn those notifications on. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Because we're going to be doing some things with this, some comparisons. I'm excited about after getting to finally ride this thing. But
yeah.
All right, guys. We will see you on the next episode. We're probably going to go swimming or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Maybe some adult beverage.
Jesus.
Yeah.